We are told on WhatsApp there, B Munyonge Limited has just paid a dividend of shillings 4 per share. Has just paid. That means what here? DO. DO is 4. The company expects that the dividend will grow at the rate of 20% per annum for the first 2 years, then grow at the rate of 10% per annum for the next 2 years, and thereafter grow at the rate of 6% per annum into perpetuity. There is a time they brought this kind of an exact question, this kind of, actually, I think even the figures were the same in AFM, and so many students were not able to do this simple question. So they want us to give them the required rate of return, or rather, the required rate of return is 16%, and then they want us to give them the theoretical value of the company share. It's also called the intrinsic value, the intrinsic value. So then very fast, what I will do, ladies and gentlemen, they have told me that my current dividend, current means D0. You see, 0 means today times 0 is today. So they have told me that this D0 is 4. And then they would want me to value this share on the basis of the cash flows that I will receive if I buy this share. What cash flows shall I receive? Future dividends. So then I'll come and work with a table here capturing the future dividends. The future dividends we expect. So remember, we start from time 1. We start from time 1. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So what have they told us? That we expect these 4 to grow by what percentage? 20% each year for the next how many years? 3 years. For the next 3 years. So they've told us that the 4 will grow. The 4 will grow at the rate of 20% per annum. Or for the first 2 years, sorry. For the first 2 years. So no problem. So then at the end of year 1, it will be 4 times 1.2. Because of 1 plus R. R is 20%. R is 20%. So 1 plus 0.2. So then these will give me how much, ladies and gentlemen? Please give me this future dividend. 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 So Irene gives me 4.8. Thank you very much. Remember, the 20% is also applicable in year 2. So then I'll come and pick this 4.8 times 1.2 like that. 20% is applicable for the first 2 years. So according to Irene, who seems to be very fast, she's giving me a figure of 5.76. Then what happens thereafter? Thereafter, this year number 2, ladies and gentlemen, what is happening here is that we will have still the dividends growing, but this time round at a smaller rate. 10% for the next 2 years. So then 5.76 times 1.1 times 1.1 times 1.1. 5.76 times 1.1, which will end up giving me 6.336. 6.336. I would want to get figures from most of you. I would want to get figures from all of you. Grace, have you seen the question in this case here on WhatsApp? They told us that the current dividend is 4. And then this dividend for the next 2 years, it shall be growing at the rate of 20%. 20%. So remember, amount is principal into 1 plus R. Rate of growth is 20%. So 20% is the same as 0.2. Is 0.2. 0.2. So you see, this will be 1 plus 0.2, which will be 1.2. Growth rate, growth rate, growth rate, growth rate. Are you able to follow now? So like the first step will be 4 times 1.2, which gives us 4.8. This 4.8 will let it grow at the same rate of 1.2. Yeah. So we get this 5.76. When we go to year 3 and 4, they have told us that the growth rate will be 10%. Right? So then year 3 and 4. So this will be 6.336 times 1.1, which will end up giving us what figure? Somebody here. So year number 4 is 6.96. Okay. So then go to infinity. What have they told us about infinity? They've told us something very nice there about infinity, that now after the end of the year, for thereafter, the dividends will grow at the rate of 6% per annum into perpetuity. So here, then we'll need to get the infinity cash flow using the PO formula. Using the PO formula. So the infinity cash flow using the PO formula, the infinity cash flow using the PO formula, which will be DO into 1 plus G all over R or Kenya minus government, like that. So this is the infinity cash flow. Do it separately. This is the infinity cash flow, the infinity cash flow. So this infinity cash flow, DO is the most recent. Don't go to that very old dividend. No, we are pulling this infinity cash flow out of this figure, So then it will be 6.9696 into 1 plus the perpetual growth rate. The perpetual growth rate, they've told us the perpetual growth rate is 6%. Is 6% perpetual growth rate. So then all over cost of equity, they have given us the required return. They have given us the required return. They're telling us that the required return is 16%. 16%. So all over 0.16 minus 0.06 minus this growth. So up and pole pole, give us first of all the numerator. Mwendo wa aste, usije ukajikwa. Pata kwanza numerator, andika kando. Alafu denominator tuandike kando. Denominator najua ni 0.1. 0.1 denominator. How about the numerator? Can somebody give me the numerator value? 7.3. 7.388, like that. Meaning that the final answer here will be 73.88, like that. So these future dividends are the ones that I will do what I will pull from the future to present, are the ones that I will discount. So to discount this, then I'll come and use what we call PVF. To discount this, I'm using PVF. 0.16 tunatoa wapi? Great. Ukiangalia vizuri pale kwa last sentence, wamekuambia the required rate of return. What the shareholders, once they invest with us, what the shareholders would expect as a return is 16%. The required return, that is the same as your cost of capital, is what you shall use as your cost of equity. Yes, 16 over 100, yeah, 16%. It will be 0.16. Thank you, Bakari, for helping me answer that question. So, Irene, are we together now? Benjamin, great. So 73.88 or 78, whatever. So please come and discount. So when you're discounting, this is PVF, not PVFA. Not PVFA, because you know PVFA for annuities, that A for annuities means the same amount. These are fluctuating amounts, so you can only use what we call PVF at the same cost of capital that you used here, at 16%. Now then, you don't start straight away working out this thing using a formula. No, you get your discounting tables. Discounting tables are two. There is one for annuity, there is one for lump sum. The one for annuity, you can see it's always written there expressed. The one that has got a big formula, annuity. So don't use the one of annuity here. So in those tables, the one for lump sum, do we have a 16% there? Cost of capital 16%, is it given or it's absent? If it's given, we shall use the figures from the table. Don't start in this case, you're flexing your muscles towards the examiner, telling the examiner that you know what? I've got inya. Kuna gihinya po. Haitakupatia mark. So do we have 16% in those tables? Is there anybody who has those tables? Or are you used to calculating? No. Ni kama amleo table. Basi calculate haraka. So calculate haraka hapa, what are we using? Calculate haraka hapa, what we are using, ladies and gentlemen, is this formula of 1 plus R, or we have. So Ruth, if we have, could you kindly give us this? So 1 plus R raised to negative n. So itakuwa 1.16 raised to negative 1. Unapata answer, lakini Ruth ameniambia kitu mzuri sana. We have the table. So Liz Kichwen gives me 0.8621. And then year number 2 na kapa raised to 2. I'm going to tusomea direct. Aha. Great. Thank you very much, Stella. You are the best. Amenipatia zote 7432. 7432. Amenipatia 6407. 6407. Alafu year 4 amenipatia 5523. Can somebody confirm that these figures, all of them are correct? Can somebody confirm that those figures, all of them are correct? All of them are correct. Yes. Thank you very much. So then what do you think of this infinite cash flow? How do we discount it? The infinite cash flow. How do we discount it? The infinite cash flow. We drop, isn't it? We drop this down. We drop this down. So 5523. And then you come and give us our famous discounted cash flows. Give us our famous discounted cash flows. Give us our famous discounted. Thank you, Manoti. Give us our famous discounted cash flows. So 2 decimal places very first. You take the first one, unanipatia answer. Unanipatia answer. 2 decimal places, final answers, 2 decimal places are sufficient. They're sufficient. 2 decimal places, they are sufficient. 2 decimal places, they are sufficient. Irene N gives me 4.14. 4.14. And then we have 5.76 times 0.7432. 5.76 times 0.7432. According to Umi Mwakio, it's 4.28. 4.28. Then now we are on the 3rd year. 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 Mish Mboko, 4.06. 4.06. Lilian Irene, 4.06. The fourth one, Stella must be a new student. Stella must be a new student. Sijakuwa nikimwona any lady anaitwa Stella hapa ndani. Ametokezea vizuri sana kwa fujo. Thank you. So 385, 3.85, and then the last one will be this time, this, which will give us what figure? Which will give us what figure? Which will give us what figure? 40.8, 40.8, 40.8, 40.8. So then you'll come and now, these are discounted cash flows. Discounted cash flows are the same as present values. So you'll come and do what here? You'll come and add. You add all of them. The discounted cash flows now are total 57.13. 57.13. 57.13. Gordon Ware is the only student who comes. Is it from this county? Is it not Moyale? Lodwar, far-flung area. And whenever he comes to Nairobi, he always wants to buy mwalimu lunch, which is so good. This time round, lazima takula lunch. Kwanza, graduation. Graduation. That's the only thing I'm seeing ahead of us, right? So we have here the total present value. This is your PO. This is your market price per share. It's your market price per share, which is 57.what here. Turkana, yes. Turkana, yes. Turkana. 57.13. 57.13, yes. 57.13. So this is our, great, 57.13, 57.13. Thank you so much. So in an exam, si ungepata correct. Yes, ungepata correct in an exam. So ungepata correct in an exam. Stage ya Turkana magani, hiyo angepata correct wote. Thank you and thank you so much. Halafu kuna ile swali ambalo nilikupatia, ile swali ambalo nilikuwa nimekupatia jana, ile ilikuwa na growth rate. Sijui kama mlipata nyote. Ile swali uangalie vizuri sana jameni. Ile ilikuwa na growth rate, compute growth rate. Please let down. Hiyo swali muangalie vizuri, usin let down. Hiyo swali uangalie vizuri sana. Usin let down. Usin let down. Usin let down. Alafu hii swali, hata exam inajaribu kuficha namna gani? Saa zingine utapata anajaribu kuficha namna hii hii swali hii. Unaweza pata examiner anajaribu kuficha namna hii. Mimi namjua sana examiner. Mimi namjua sana huyu examiner. Namjua zaidi, like the way I know the back of my hands. Mimi namjua sana. Huyu examiner atakuja hapa kuambie current market price. This is just an exercise. Atakuja kuambie current market price per share. Atakuja kuambia current market price per share 60. Okay. Current market price per share ni 60. Namaanisha Bakari pia ni Waturkana. So atakwambia namna current market price is 60. Atakuja hapa kuambia PE ratio equals 6 times. PE ratio equals 6 times. Hivyo ndio atakuchezea. Right? Akuambie dividend payout ratio. Dividend payout ratio. Dividend payout ratio is 40%. Dividend payout ratio is 40%. 40%. So akishamaliza anakuja na kuambia dividends will grow by 10% per annum for the first 2 years. 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 Comma 5% per annum for the next 2 years. Next 2 years. And 4% and the 4% per annum, 4% per annum thereafter. Thereafter. Hata tumia jina perpetuity thereafter. Wewe unafaa kujua ukisikia per annum thereafter ina mwisho, hiyo si ni perpetuity. In perpetuity thereafter. Oh, okay. Great. 4% per annum thereafter in perpetuity. Alafu atakwambia hapa R is 12%. Just a simple question. 12%. Na anataka umpatie the intrinsic value of the share required. Intrinsic value of the share. Intrinsic value of the share and advice whether this person here should buy or sell shares. Can I leave you to do this question kama homework? Lakini sasa pia itaki homework. Sasa pia sitaki kupatia vitu ambavyo inasumbua akili, hapana. I think we should just do it here. Very fast. Sasa tumefika mahali hakuna kitu ya homework. Kanisa unafaa ndio struggle. Sitaki mstruggle. I don't want homework. Lakini hapa kuna low hanging fruits. Umeona hapa kuna PE ratio. Hapa kuna low hanging fruits. Let's do it here. Hii kuna low hanging fruits. Sijui kama mshamaliza copy question. Mshamaliza copy question. Hii question ilikuwa financing decisions. Kiasi. Unapiga picha haraka. Annabelle Okendo. Great. Anisi mko na majina mazuri kusema ukweli. Brian Lerimoi. Nilikuwa napata watoto saa hizi ningechukua majina mengine hapa. Great. Majina ni mzuri. Great, done. Thank you very much. Sasa hapa kuna low hanging fruit. Ukiona hii kitu hii pia sio flower. Hii sio flower. Ukiona PE ratio unajua hiyo sio flower. Unakuja unaandika hapa PE ratio equals MPS over EPS like that. Alafu unaona hapa amekupatia PE ratio, unakwambia hapa ni 6 times. So MPS unakupatia. Hata kama uelewi, so unaona MPS unakupatia 60. So unajua the thing that they want you to calculate here is EPS. The thing that they want you to calculate is EPS. That's what they want you to calculate. If you miss out on that step, you get 0 in the entire question. So can you kindly give me the EPS? Try to cross multiply there. FAU, you guys have got great names really. So inakuwa ni 6 EPS equals 60. So EPS will be 60 over 6, which will give me what here? Which will give me 10. So once I get EPS, as a good finance manager, I cannot pay out everything of this as dividends. Remember, for you to get EPS, there are so many assumptions. Profitability, you have assumed so many things. You may not be very accurate. So there is no way you can end up paying this as dividends. You may easily give away the entire farm, resources of the entire farm, such that you'll not be having anything in the future to really use to finance the projects that you have. So out of this EPS, some percentage will be retained, some percentage will be paid out as dividends. And they have told us the amount to be paid as dividends is 40% of this. So come and give us the DPS. So the DPS, wamekuambia it is 40%. 40%. Wamesema hapa. Wamesema hapa. Wamesema dividends. No. Dividend payout ratio is 40. So it's 40% of the earnings per share. So kwa hivyo abracadabra, hii inakuja na kuwa 4 like that. Alafu sasa unatengeneza a table of what your future dividends, because this dividend that you have here is DO. Why have I known it's DO? It's because the market price you used here is current. So now this is DO, and don't take DO to our calculations of what year PO. This is your reference point, it's your benchmark, is where you're starting from. So then you make that table of future dividends. You make that table of future dividends. So make that table of future dividends, make that table of future dividends. So abracadabra, future dividends sasa itakuwaje? Future dividend itakuwaje? Future dividend itakuwaje? So unaandika hapa future dividends, unasema future dividends, always unaanza na year 1. Hata kama understand, unaanza na year 1, 2, 3, 4, inaenda miaka ngapi sasa? Yes, and infinity. So unaanza pale tulisema 4. So remember this 4 is going to grow by 10% for the first 2 years. So inakuwa for the first itakuwa 4 times 1.1, which is 4.4. The second year unapick hii unasema 4.4 times 1.1. The 10% is applicable for the first 2 years. So what is 4.4 times 1.1? What is 4.4 times 1.1? Please, there is no way you guys can have very beautiful names like that. Na munipatia ta answers. If your name is beautiful, you must give me answers here. So 4.84. Then from there, ladies and gentlemen, we are told again for the next 2 years, our growth rate will now be what here? 5%. Our growth rate will be 5%. So you pick this figure and let it grow by 5%. So then we have here 4.84 times 1.05. Satan asikutembele, hapo upato umeandika 1.5. You see 5% is the same as 0.05. So wananiambia mwalimu inakuja 5.08. Thank you very much. So nakuja unaandika 5.08. Remember that the 5% was applicable for the each of the next 2 years. 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 So 5.08 times 1.05. So this gives me 5.34, like that. From there, unakuja unadunga pale kitu infinity. Ile kitu infinity, unakumbuka ile kitu ya ile kitu ya provincial officer, ile kitu ya Gashagwa. PO equals, he was a DO, now he's really grown. So 1 plus growth rate, all over KE, minus what here, minus all over, but you wrote 4%, not 5%. Oh, we wrote 4%. Hapana, Willy angalia hapa. Ili comma 5% per annum for the next 2 years and 4% per annum thereafter. Ini ile kitu ya perpetuity Willy woyebu kumbuka. Ini ile kitu ya perpetuity, 4% ya perpetuity. It's for perpetuity, yes. It's for perpetuity. So in this case, unakumbuka ile kitu ya PO equals district officer will grow in ranks all over Kenya minus what here? All over Kenya minus government. All over Kenya minus Kenya without government. Very important. Seen. Great. So unakuja hapa uoye the most current dividend usichanganyike uchukue ile old one. We normally pull this infinity out of the most recent here. Out of the most recent here. Out of the most recent. So then you will come and talk of 5.34 into 1 plus this perpetual growth rate all over the required return. The required return has been given here as 12%. 12% minus 0.04, which will end up giving us what figure? Hey, you guys. So according to Monica Anene, 69.42. Is there somebody who can confirm that Monica Anene is giving us the correct figure? Is giving us the correct figure. 0.42, 0.29, we are children of the same mother. 0.42, children of the same mother. It's just rounding off errors. Rounding off errors. Bakari bwana, umepata je 70 Bakari kusema kweli. Ama unasema numerator? Bakari umepataje? Bakari hapo unaenda pole pole, unapata kwanza numerator. Numerator kando unaandika. alafu denominator kando, hii ni 0.08, denominator kando naandika, alafu na divide. Bakari confirm haraka umepata correct answer 69.42 ama 69.3 ama 69.29, doesn't matter. Something that is close there, something that is close there. Okay. Proceed. Thank you very much. So then from there, come and give us a column here for PVIF. A column here for PVIF. For purpose of discounting these future dividends, remember when you are valuing also a farm, the same thing, you will be using cash flows. You'll be using cash flows. So future dividends, come and give us here PVIF at the same cost of capital used here. PVIF at 12%. PVIF at 12%. PVIF at 12%. So abracadabra, we happen to be having 12%, I'm so sure, in our tables. So could you kindly give us these figures? Elijoy, thank you very much. Could you kindly give us these figures? Could you kindly give us these figures? Could you kindly give us end of year 1 according to Gloria? 0.8929. 0.8929. 0.8929. End of year 2. End of year 2. We have 79.72, Stella. We have 71.18. We have the last one, which is 63.55. So we pull this down here, 63.55. So please give me the discounted cash flows. There is no way you can miss this kind of a question in your exam. You cannot miss this question. You can't miss this question. Thank you, Manoti. So don't forget to pull this down here, the infinity here, the same thing, you pull it down. So discounted cash flow, inakuja namna gani? Abracadabra, according to Gloria, the first one is 3.93. 3.93. According to whoever, lazima tumalize because of the advice. I wanted to say, you guys not going to finish this, but there is an advisory part. Mish 3.93. Irene Otieno, 3.86. 3.86. Thank you, Harriet, 3.86. Then we go to year number 3. Year number 3, year number 3. Year number 3, 3.62. 3.62. So abracadabra, 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 Irene, 3.39. 3.39, nilisahau maji yangu mahali. 3.39, we shall overcome. Gordon gives me 44.1 to Irene, 44.12. So from there, you come and give us the total, which in this case here is the intrinsic value. Intrinsic value, which is our PO, intrinsic value. Intrinsic value means calculated. There's a difference between calculated value and market value. It's different. So according to Willie Velma, she's getting here 58.92. Thank you very much. So then come and compare this with the market value. What is the current market value given? What is the current MPS? Up there we said is 60. We said it is 60. So you can see the calculated value from the fundamental principles. Using the cash flows we expect to receive. The truthful figure we are going to receive here is 58.92. And then these guys are valuing this thing expensively. So this is a good for nothing security because the market is placing it at 60, but the fundamental, the truthful analysis is placing it at a low. So the market value is higher. So this is an overvalued security. This is an overvalued security. It is an overvalued security. Great. So how do we calculate growth rate when given return on equity? I think Mwanza, is it Mwanza? Mwanza, you are godsend. You're speaking to us right through our hearts. Let's answer that question. But the most important thing is that this security, the market is overvaluing it. Don't buy. Don't buy it. It's a useless security. If you buy it, you'll make losses. Great. Mwanza is asking a very important question there, because what may happen if I'm a stupid examiner who would want very many students to fail? If I'm a sadist of an examiner, this is what I will do. I know students are used to getting a growth rate using, or rather when you give them, for example, many dividends over many years, then they can calculate growth rate. So what I'll do, I'll come and give them something like this. I'll tell them, if I'm sadist of an examiner, stupid examiner, I'll tell them something like this. I'll tell them DO is 4. I'll come here, tell them, no, I cannot even give them DO first. What I'll do, I'll come and tell them EPS. I'll start with EPS. EPS, I'll tell them EPS is 10. Dividend payout ratio, I'll tell them it's 40%. And then I'll come and tell them here, return on equity. Return on equity is 6%. 6%. And then I'll come and give them the cost of capital. This has been brought in your past papers, it is there. Cost of capital, the core, I'll give them something like 20%. So could you kindly then go ahead and give me PO. Give me PO. Give me the intrinsic value of a share. So I know what most of them will do. They'll come and tell you DO into 1 plus G, which is very good, all over cost of equity minus G, very good. But now this is not provided, which I would want to give you 3 minutes to try. Most students will assume that it is 0. No. So the first low-hanging fruit that I would want to harvest in this question is this. Come here and give us DO, the current dividend. So remember, dividends are normally paid from earnings. So the DO will be 40% of the 10, which will be 4 like that. Brilliant. Great. And then we'll remember very fast that Gordon gave us 2 formulas for getting growth rate. Gordon gave us 2 formulae for getting the growth rate. Akasema pia kuna hii formula inasema G equals BR. G equals BR, where B is the retention ratio. So the retention ratio, and then of course we have this R is the return on equity. That R is the return on equity. R is the return of equity. Apo manoti ungetupa mbao sana, but we shall overcome. So there is this formula that whenever you see this return on equity, this formula is very important. Yeah, compigo lakini uzuri ukuna time ya kushika kitu ini rahisi. So G is retention ratio times return on equity. So could you kindly talk to me this morning and give me the retention ratio? What about the B? B is the retention ratio. How much are you able to retain? So if you are paying the dividends, of 40, then you're retaining 60%. You're retaining 60%. So G here will be 60% of return on equity, which is what here? Which is 6%. So could you kindly give me the answer? 1 minus DPR, come here, I like that. 1 minus DPR. I like that. So nasema hapo ni 3.6. Remember the argument that Mr. Gordon was putting through. The argument that Mr. Gordon was putting through The argument that Mr. Gordon was putting through is this. Mr. Gordon told us that if you want to grow as a firm, ensure that you are able to retain this money. And after you retain, don't just let that cash be in the bank without you investing. Invest and get a return on your equity. So he said that as a firm or even as an individual, for you to grow, always retain maximally from your salary, and whatever you retain, ensure that you are able to invest. The two are the factors of growth. If you multiply them, you get a very good compounding growth rate there. So then after I get this, then I'll come and do my PO. So my PO in this case here will be equal to DO. DO, which is 4, into 1 plus the growth rate. The growth rate, now we have it. Growth rate, now we have it. It is 0.036 like that. All over KE minus G. KE is the cost of equity, which is the same as what here, return on equity. You can't use cost of capital here because you're valuing a share. You are valuing a share. We are valuing a share. So in this case, I'll come and use here 0.06 minus 0.036. So unaenda pole pole, get the numerator and remember, you don't have to get like all the marks. The thing is the method. The method, how are you arriving at the answer? Itakupatia vitu kama hasa hapa utapata hapa examine akimark. Examine akimark uye, unataka formula, unataka umedunga. So hata ukikosa hapo substitute utaambiwa tu method 3 for example, answer 0. So instead of getting 4, you're getting 3. You're getting 3. So Grace has given us the final answer there, which is 172.67. 172.67. 172.67. Thank you very much, Mwanza, for asking that question. DPR is dividend payout ratio. Dividend payout ratio. Dividend payout ratio. Dividend payout ratio. The percentage of earnings that you are paying as dividends. Return on equity, cost of capital, earnings per share. Thank you. Great. So then I would want us to do the last question this morning. Why are we using 6% as KR and not, 20%? Very good question. 20% is the cost of capital. Cost of capital has got debt in it. Remember how to get cost of capital? In most cases, it is a WACC. WACC. Tukona ile wekesa, weight of equity, cost of equity. Yes, like that. And yet you are valuing a share, which is an equity instrument. Which is an equity instrument. There are two things here. If you remember what Teacher David told you, we have got valuing of shares and we've got valuing of organizations. When you are valuing an organization that has got debt, that has got debt, that is when you will come and use what we call what here, somebody WACC. WACC there. When you're valuing an organization. Great. Great. Thank you so much. So then I would want us to do the last question for today. And this is a very important question for you people. I'm so sure you are in a hurry to go to church, but I would just want us to do this question and give it like 20 minutes and then we disappear. This is a very important question. Unajua wanafunzi ambao nilifunza hapa la semester wakienda kufanya exam, ulikuwa nikiwaambia this is very important, naona kama ni mchezo tu. Wakaenda kwa exam wakanipigia wakaniambia mwalimu kwani wewe ni examiner? Nikawaambia hapana. So please take these things that I'm giving you here very seriously. Take them very seriously and then you compare notes and we must pass all of us. That's what we've said. So like now this one, they want us to, I've already sent it in the WhatsApp group. The WhatsApp group. They want us to calculate something very easy. They want us to calculate WACC. WACC, life is good. Life is good. Every day, lazima unakuwa na positive affirmations. Every day, lazima unakuwa na positive affirmations. Because as accountants, we undergo through a lot. Even at our workplaces, you'll get somebody who is in class here, lakini kuna vitu kubalance kesho. So unapata unastuka. hata kama iko balance. Unaona tu kazini hiyo siku unasema asubuhi, hata iwe namna gani siku itaisha. We shall overcome. Na itakuwa siku mzuri. Na utashangaa utafika kazi kitu balance, ama hata boss asahau kuuliza. Hiyo ndio maisha, ufai kustuka sana. And this exam we shall pass. Positive affirmations, they are very important. Very, very important. Very, very important. Great. So now I hope we've seen the question. They want us to give them WACC. So I'll read there very fast. The current capital structure of Ahadi Limited.